Good evening, everyone. And so today, in the next hour, you're going to learn the physical heart and what we can do, the three things that we can do for our heart, and then the spiritual, the non-physical aspect of our heart in just the next hour. And I can have your questions at the end of the speech. Okay, so everything in life has two aspects. One is the physical aspect and one is the non-physical aspect. So physical aspects are the manifestations of generally the non-physical aspects of things. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you thought about your heart? Not metaphorically, but just physically. The organ in your chest, which beats around 100,000 times and pumps around 2,000 gallons of blood every day to your arteries. And if you stretch your blood vessels and add them end to end, you can encircle the world 2.5 times. Yes. Think about that for a second. Your heart beats tirelessly to keep you alive, pumping blood to all corners of your body. It does not take time off. It does not get a break from its responsibilities. It is always there for you, no matter how much stress you throw at it. But here's the question. Are you doing enough for it? What can you do for your heart today? So everyone is a high performer in today's world. So everyone is working hard. As a high performer, you know what it means to be on the go. You're staying late nights, you have tight deadlines, you're pushing your limits. Amidst the success, your heart is absorbing all the stress, strain, and neglect. Let me tell you a story. I've been a heart surgeon for 13 years now, and throughout my career, I've seen the razor-thin line between the best outcomes and the worst ones. There was a time when I was serving in a hospital, in a small hospital, right border between Turkey and Syria. So most of our patients were coming from the Syrian side. And they were mostly babies who had heart problems from birth. So those babies did not have the luxury of time, and they were not as lucky as we are. One night a baby came in a very critical condition, so his heart was weak and the chances of survival was low. So we were trying to do whatever we could to save that baby. And after a couple of hours of intervention, things started to change and in a good direction. By the next morning, the baby's heart was completely beating like normal. How can that happen? So when I saw that baby in parents' arms, ready to be discharged from the hospital, at that moment, I realized how fragile yet resilient our hearts truly are. And I promise myself to do all I can to help people protect their hearts. So what can you do for your heart today? Increase nitric oxide naturally. Let me tell you what it means. Nitric oxide is a gas molecule, like oxygen, which is dissolved in our blood. And it circulates all around the body. So oxygen is necessary for energy production. And nitric oxide is essential to keep our arteries open and flexible so that blood can easily flow. As we have to take oxygen from outside continuously, we have to produce nitric oxide from inside continuously. Think of your body like a high-performance car. And your heart as the engine of that high-performance car. So nitric oxide will be a high-octane fuel that keeps your heart engine running so that it does not overwork itself to push blood through stiff and clogged blood vessels. Without enough nitric oxide, you're headed down into a dangerous path, a path which leads to heart attacks, heart disease, or worse. So, and nitric oxide is so essential that in 1998, the founders were given the Nobel Prize for finding that molecule. So this, and when you're in your 20s, nitric oxide is 100%. And when you're at 40s, it decreases to 50%. And when you're at 60s, it decreases to 15%. And problems start to arise by then. So how can you increase your nitric oxide? But the good thing is, you do not need expensive supplements or hours in the gym or heavy workouts to keep your nitric oxide high. You can fit that into your busy schedule with just a few simple lifestyle changes. So what can you do to increase nitric oxide today? First is exercise. What I mean here is not a heavy workout or a marathon running. It is just that 10 minutes of brisk walking. Or if you don't want to walk, you can do home exercises like jumping jacks, sit-ups, push-ups, or you can do body weight squats. Just keep moving 10 minutes twice a day. And the second is nitrate-rich foods. The foods rich in nitrates are leafy greens such as spinach, arugula, or kale. Also, beets are high in nitrates. So if you take those foods, especially on an empty stomach, your nitric oxide is increased significantly. And third is breathing. Everyone take a deep breath through your nose and keep it in. Now exhale slowly. Only this can increase your nitric oxide significantly.
Is it box feeding?
So these are the realities. So heart attacks are #1 cause of death worldwide. And 80% of sudden deaths are due to heart attacks. And 50% of people who are dying suddenly from a heart attack are not aware that they have a heart problem before they die. Yes, they are not aware before it's too late. So think about that. You built a successful life, you did whatever you could, but you came to a point, but will that all make sense if your heart is not healthy? So you owe it to yourself, your loved ones, and future generations to make your heart a priority. And now the non-physical aspect of heart. So heart has been known throughout the ages, also a core of a non-physical aspect. It is called soul, spirit, emotional brain, or even subconscious mind. When I say mind, you just maybe remember the brain, but the subconscious is something different than the brain. It is actually the center of our emotions. It's the subjective mind. It cannot think, but it acts automatically. And when we are at the age of 35, our 95% of our behaviors, day-to-day behaviors, are from subconscious mind. So this is important aspects, so we don't think about them. So also the heart is the house of God and a bridge to well-being. So there is a Qudsi hadith for on this subject which says, neither my heavens nor my earth can contain me, but the heart of my believing servant does. So that gives the importance of the heart. So it is a symbol of connection with the divine. So Ibrahim Hakkı has a saying which says, heart is the house of God and purified from all else, and the all-merciful descends into its place in its palace in the nights. Today, also its spiritual part intertwines with the physical part, because stress is one of the biggest triggers of heart attacks and heart disease. You know what time the heart attacks occur?
4 a.m. 3 a.m.
Most of them?
3 to 4 a.m.
3 Anyone, any other idea?
Morning. Early morning. During exercise.
Especially Monday morning. So that's related with the stress. Most of the time 9 a.m. Monday morning. So that's the most of the stress is due to our jobs and other things. So, but beyond the physical role, also the essence of being, it is called sometimes the rational soul. The Quran teaches us the faith, knowledge, and divine root here. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, God does not look at your appearance or wealth, but at your hearts. So the spiritual heart reflects God's like a polished mirror, and it serves as a fortress for faith, wisdom, and willpower. So and channels divine grace to the physical world, bringing peace and serenity. So let us ask ourselves, is our heart pure, or are we putting a lot of stress, distractions, and problems of the physical world? So this is an important question that everyone, I believe, should ask themselves, because if we can tolerate short-term stress as human beings, we can tolerate it. But all the animals can tolerate short-term stress. Like, for example, something is chasing, they can run away, they can hide, and they can tolerate it. But once we have a long-term stress, for example, a friend at work, or you're constantly subject to the stress, that stress is the problem. And it changes your body chemistry, and it's the beginning of many problems. Because when you add too much stress, put too much stress on your heart, you are going to feel the balance is being impaired. So the serenity will not be there anymore. And how can we purify our hearts? The Quran reminds us to pray, our Lord, do not let our hearts deviate after you have guided us. Because because of the sudden changes in life, once we go through the right path, and if our heart deviates, so it's very easy. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, often supplicated, O turner of hearts, make my heart steadfast upon your religion. And that's an important prayer too. So to protect our heart, first of all, we need to cultivate awareness. So what is affecting you the most? You can easily understand it, just 5 minutes of thinking. But the problem is that we are generally not thinking about ourselves, our well-being, like what is affecting us. Actually, most people are not aware of themselves. They more think about the birthday presents they're going to buy more than themselves. Really. And that's the main problem, and we don't recognize what's affecting us the most. Just turn inside and see what is affecting you the most, and try to avoid that. And second is guarding against negativity. This is the second aspect, this an important aspect. When, let's see that we are 20 people in a room and one of them is very negative. So it affects all the 20 people. And the air in the room can change right away. And people are, negativity actually contagious. So guarding against negativity, it can be family life or professional life, is an important aspect for keeping our heart healthy. Also, the arrogance, greed, and negligence are the enemies of the heart. And the third is seek divine guidance. As everything in life, the divine guidance is important to keep our hearts pure. Because we cannot achieve it. I've seen some people saying that when I wake up in the morning, I just stop talking and I just think and pray for divine guidance for that day, just 5 minutes a day. And it's a good way to go through the day. And we also forget about the gratitude. So gratitude is something we do every prayer, but are we really feeling it? So what I mean heart is that, so you heard the terms like heartfelt gratitude. It is, if you want to have a good gratitude, try to have a heartfelt gratitude. And that's a good gratitude. Just try to feel whatever Allah has given us in the morning, like 5 minutes a day. Just think about them. And just feel the gratitude within yourself. And that's important more than just reciting the words that we do every morning. Just feeling that. And also helping others, the kindness towards others also helps with healing ourselves too. Because as the negativity is contagious, the positivity, the good deeds are contagious as well. And the fourth is the physical wellness. So no mind or nothing can be 100% good with the physical well-being. So whatever you're doing, or whatever, no matter how busy you are, you can find time for physical well-being. Most of the people, some people just think about actually overcomplicate this, but some people ignore this. So there should be a way between those two. So you don't I know you don't have to do a marathon running, you don't have to go to gym 2 hours every day, but if once you're doing that, once you're not doing that, it doesn't mean that you're not taking care of yourself. You can do simple things, as mentioned before, and then, but ignoring it can have serious consequences, as mentioned before. And 50% of people who die from heart attacks are not aware that they have a problem before they die. So, and this was, So the heart is the Kaaba of the self. It is nobler than any physical structure. When somebody is broken, when we talk, bad things to somebody, or when we try to impose something on them, they can be broken in their. We call it the broken heart, and it can leave important traces, like feelings. So people generally forget what we say them. People generally forget what we do them, but people generally do not forget how we made them feel. So when we are behaving to a person, we should pay attention how does this make them feel. That's how we're paying attention to ourselves too. So this is not forgotten. And especially once we are behaving to our children, it may have more importance to them. And when the heart is pure, it aligns with the will of the divine and connects us with humanity. So this is a prayer as a conclusion. God, make your hearts steadfast in faith, illuminate them with your light, and protect them from deviation. Let our hearts reflect your knowledge and grace and guide us on the path to righteousness. And may peace and blessings be upon Muhammad, peace be upon him, and beloved of the hearts. Amen. So, thank you. And I can answer any questions on the subject.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
The last study shows the heart has brain cells in them. Did you read any articles about them?
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you say about it?
Yeah, it's difficult to have a study which can show the brain and the heart, because the function, even our own brain, is not totally known. We cannot know which part of the brain does what, but there is this science which behaves that we say that we have a subconscious mind, and it's not the brain. And it has been, throughout long times, it's been said that the heart is the subconscious actually. And the automatic mechanism and where the feelings are coming from. But we cannot prove it physically. And when I heard some stories, like people who had heart transplants, their heart was changed, they had some feelings of the donor. I've heard the stories, but I haven't seen a study, like a study on that. And I've asked them actually in my hospital, I asked the same question to people who are doing those studies. They also said that we don't know of the study in this.
So with that, actually, I don't know if you were in my lecture.
Yeah.
You were not, okay. So I talk about that a little bit. So there are, like the latest studies show that there are around 40,000, neurons, very similar to brain cells, right? So, and then they even map where they are, right? And then some of the functions are being, I'm sorry?
Brain-like functions.
No. So, we know that there are brain-like cells in the heart, right?
That's what
There are like the 86 billion cells in our brain, 100 million in our guts, and then 40,000 in a heart. These are all like brain-like cells, right? And then, the function of these cells are more imaginary right now. Scientists are thinking that, there are some evidences, as Dr. Mustafa alluded, that they have, some functions, brain-like functions, but they cannot be, it's more subtle, it's like more self-conscious, like memories, so for instance, one of the physicians talks about you can actually have a brain dead, but the person can come back and then can still remember things, right? So they think that, during that time, the heart cells, the brain cells actually are the ones who are experiencing those things, right? So, you know, like what the scientists think that right now, the memories, right, especially, you know, like the dreams are actually stored in your heart cells. You know, like there are actually some studies showing, you know, like but as he said, you know, like there is no, you know, like the scientific base yet, you know, in terms of the functions, but at least we know that, you know, like this is a recent thing, that 40,000 brain-like cells in the heart. And if there is a brain-like cells, you know, there must have, you know, because we don't have brain-like cells anywhere else, right? In our brain, in our heart, and in our gut. So we kind of know, you know, like what the gut brain cells are doing, right? But still there is a new science that, you know, like we find out that there is a brain-like cells in us. And then we are trying to, you know, like find out, you know, like, or scientifically prove that they are linked to some of the functions.
So I want to especially focus on maybe more physical side of the heart. If anyone has a question on that, I'll be happy to answer. And for example, I talked about nitric oxide. Have you ever heard about it before?
No.
Maybe some, but most of us haven't. Okay, so this is an important, and this can be a cure to most of the problems that we are facing right now. Because nitric oxide has important, go ahead. Go ahead please.
You mentioned increasing nitric oxide through exercise and food. What about, what's your recommendation on supplements?
Yes, good question. I'll run it down. So, so nitric oxide has certain, you know, has more pain-killing activity like morphine. You know, people have chronic pains. Also, nitric oxide is natural, but it's not a morphine, but it's naturally stopping pain. Nitric oxide has wound healing properties. It's healing the wounds. So nitric oxide also has, as the main importance and where it was found is this opening up arteries and just it decreases blood pressure. So if people have high blood pressure, increasing nitric oxide will help. And most of the problems, you know, people are having Alzheimer's disease and other problems in their brains, but when you go into deeper why they are having these problems, you see that there is a problem in blood vessels, small blood vessels. So if the blood vessels don't work very well, that part of the brain just shrinks, decreases, and that's called Alzheimer. So, you know, people are having kidney disease who are hypertensive, like high blood pressure people having kidney disease. Why they are having it? Because of the high blood pressure, the kidneys are being damaged. So this is, if you go inside the mechanism of why these are happening, you can see blood vessels, the problems in the blood circulation. So increasing nitric oxide does not only help with your heart, it helps with your body. And as you asked, the supplement-wise, there are supplements about beet, which contain beet. Also, there is a fruit in India, southern part of India. It's grown in tropical climates. And I've seen from the first hand, one of my friends has been there. This fruit does not taste good. It smells bad. Also, maybe some of you heard it, some of you not. But one of my friends have been there in that region, and he says that I've been in that region. I've seen the hospital was full of people, but the cardiology and heart surgery, there was nobody there. And I asked the doctors, why is here, you know, empty? He says, we cannot do anything, the cardiology and heart surgery, because of this fruit. And this fruit is noni. Have you heard about it? Has anybody heard?
Noni.
Noni fruit. So noni fruit, it doesn't taste good, it doesn't smell good, but it is a good fruit. If you can find it, you can use, especially on an empty stomach. Also beets on an empty stomach. You can have beet powders. You can use, actually, there are a lot of beet pickles as well. And no, they're canned beets. They are really cheap. And you can put it into, you can eat it in the breakfast. And it will help a lot. Also, one of the other thing I recommend for heart health is omega-3. Have you heard about omega-3? Most of you heard about it, but it is very important. So I say this it's really very, I mean very. Because if any medicine have the effect of decreasing heart attack 20%, every doctor would prescribe that medicine. But omega-3 has been shown to decrease the heart attack 20%. It's shown, like 1,800 people in a study. So it is really have a protective effect. And also it's just not only the heart, it protects the brain as well. So omega-3 is also important to use. Especially I recommend before you go to bed or a couple of hours after dinner. Also after on a relatively empty stomach. And the third is that antioxidants. Has anybody heard about antioxidants? And what do you know about antioxidants?
Anti-inflammatory.
Just radicals. So it's just
Yes,
radicals.
radical.
They help reduce cholesterol.
I don't know any evidence, but can. Anything else about antioxidants? What's that? Yeah. Okay, so oxygen is, we take oxygen and the body is producing some harmful things. Also, the external effects are producing some harmful things in our body. And these are called oxygen radicals. So antioxidants are catching them. Yeah, like, let's say they're terrorists. They're catching the terrorists, like the police force. You know, if you don't have the police enough, so you'll not be safe. Think about that. And antioxidants are basically, I can say, vitamin C, vitamin E, green tea, purple fruits, lemon, yes, and yeah, especially purple and red fruits and vegetables. Also, these are main source of antioxidants. And we need to take a good amount of antioxidants for our body to work in a good way. A lot there is the police. You don't understand the importance until you need it. So, just remember a question, I'm going to say one more word. The core, the essential, the main mechanism of these cancers, diabetes 2, type 2, and others are based on like cellular damage. And cellular damage is caused by oxidation, oxidative damage. And antioxidants will protect it.
So are there any correlation between the intake of antioxidants and the inflammation in the body also? And what is the role of inflammation and the heart disease?
Yeah, it helps with the inflammation, as you said, antioxidants, because it balances the immune system. Actually, we can tell about inflammation like this, like somebody is calling the 911 all the time, like police is always, somebody is calling the 911 all the time. This is inflammation. So the body is giving abnormal reaction to something, but we don't know what that is. So once we, make the police more clever, like balancing the immune system, and as you mean, antioxidants can help with that. But also, when I come back, omega-3, one of the the properties of omega-3 is that it helps with inflammation as well. So the third thing is that you know about heart disease. You think that I eat, oils, unhealthy oils, and people get heart disease. Is that true? How many people think so? It's because of unhealthy oils.
We grew up with that information, so it must be true.
Yeah, it has an, unhealthy oils has a part, but most of it, we don't realize that it's the sugar most of the time is making our problems in the arteries. Yes, it's the blood sugar. If the blood sugar is high and it just fluctuates like a roller coaster, it causes a problem. For example, people get up in the morning and they take a sugar drink like a Starbucks or something, a big sugar. When they take that sugar in the morning, early in the morning, what happens is that the body is giving a reaction. Like a lot of sugar came in and then you need to increase insulin. So when the insulin is high, the blood sugar starts to drop. And then still the insulin is there, but the blood sugar dropped now. So what you're going to do, you're just craving, you just want to eat something else. That's the same thing which happens once you eat just biscuits or the carbohydrates all the time. People cannot help but snacking, just snack all the time. That's the reason. It's called glucose trap. So you're trapped in a glucose trap. Like glucose is like this, so insulin cannot catch up with it, and then it damages the inner lining of blood vessels. So the biggest organ in our body is not the liver or the heart. It is endothelium. Have you heard about endothelium? Endothelium is the inner lining of the arteries. The inner lining. And it has a separate function, so it's called as an organ. It's been described as a separate organ in the body. Yeah. And the endothelium has special properties, special kind of cells, which keeps the blood moving smoothly and does not attach to the walls of the arteries. So, in order to keep the endothelium healthy, we need to pay attention to blood sugar, we need to pay attention to inflammation, antioxidants, and most important, the nitric oxide. So these are the essential things to keep our circulation healthy.
How about olive oil and butter?
What's that?
How about olive oil or like?
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so we came from the inflammation to there. So you think that, how many people think that vegetable oils are healthy?
Some are and some are not.
So which one you think are healthy?
Olive oils are healthy.
So what type of olive oil?
Cold pressed.
Extra virgin.
Okay. So how many types of production process for oils? So there are generally two types. One of them, as you mentioned, cold press. One of them is refined. Yeah, the refined one is the heated one, and it has lost its natural composition. It's lost its natural structure. So when you take refined oil, I don't want to say a sunflower oil, I don't want to say this oil, that oil, but the refined oil, anything refined oil, you're taking something is like an enemy to the body, and body is just reacting. Somebody is calling 9/11 all the time, as I mentioned. Body is giving a reaction, and that's causing the inflammation, and inflammation is causing the problem. So that's why olive oil, the cold pressed oils are healthy. You can find cold pressed sunflower oils, but they're expensive. You can find on the internet, you can take a look. But generally where we see the sunflower oils in the markets, but they're refined ones. And I've seen olive oils which says contains at least 60% olive oil. The other is canola oil. Like, it's written olive oil on that. So it's not 100%. So reading this, what is written on this, on the products is important. Because it can deceive us. And also refined, you need to pay attention to this refined word.
Is canola oil bad because of being refined?
Yes.
Or is there something else
Yes.
with canola oil?
Yeah, canola oil is refined. Because when you need to have sunflower oil, with a cold pressed sunflower oil, you decrease the productivity by half. You can get 2 times more oil with refined process than just cold pressed. And the refined is unhealthy. So these are the important things about heart. Healthy oils, blood sugar. Healthy heart starts with your breakfast. So just keep an eye on what you eat first in the day. And what you do first in the day. Okay?
But we all get conflicting messages about this. We grew up that the most important meal of the day is breakfast, strong breakfast. But recently I hear on social media your body doesn't eat anything until 12
Yes.
a.m. p.m.
The most important meal is breakfast. But if you skip the breakfast, okay, just skip it.
Don't have it
Just
late.
eat like 12. It's fine.
Breakfast does not mean that, like you eat 8 a.m. in the morning, right?
Yeah.
What breakfast is called, like the breaking the fast, right? What you put in your body first.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Okay.
what it. Oh,
Yeah.
We talk about definition of breakfast. Okay,
Yes.
12 p.m. is still
Exactly.
breakfast.
It's not
okay.
the timing of the, like what
Yeah.
the modern world is dictating on you that you have to have a breakfast like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. in the
Oh,
morning.
break the fast, like fasting break. You give them through.
Yeah.
Okay.
You fast it, and then the first thing you put in your mouth, put something which increases nitric oxide. That's important. For example, greens, beets, or noni, or something that increases nitric oxide. First thing in which you put in your mouth is important because the stomach has high acid in the morning, and it can produce higher nitric oxide in the morning.
So I guess there was a question before, like about the supplements instead of taking, like the natural remedies to increase the nitric oxide, right? Can you take, like the supplement?
Yes.
Does it really work?
Yeah, it works. Green supplements. There are green supplements.
But
There
they're
are
still like the natural supplements.
beet supplements, noni supplements.
Tablet?
Athletes use it actually. Athletes use to increase performance. The nitric oxide supplements. You can find actually the strips to measure nitric oxide in your saliva. Yeah, athletes use it. What's that?
What about water with lemon, drinking water?
Drinking water with lemon
Oh,
every morning.
that's good question. I forgot to mention it. So the first thing you do in the morning, I also recommend drinking some water. The first thing in the morning.
No.
Yes, with a lemon will be great. That's what I do as well. I put some lemon. I squeeze some lemon in the water, and I put that from the evening at my bedside, so that I don't have to put too much effort to drink it in the morning. Because otherwise I would neglect. I say, okay, today is okay. So tomorrow is the enemy of heart. Okay, today it needs to be done today.
Does this rule apply to when you will break the fast in iftar time?
That's good.
Yeah, when we fast,
Yes.
normal fast, and evening time, the first thing we eat.
Yeah.
Like similarly.
Yeah. In Ramadan it's difficult. I know. We eat just everything, but as much as you can. And what I think is good is that just if you can make small changes every day, that would be good.
What about coffee every morning?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. So when I've seen that feedback as well. When I drink coffee, I feel like I'm feeling more energy, but I'm feeling like something is happening in my brain. And they have given spiders some coffee, so they caffeine actually. Spiders' web was like this, like, it's not like before. So coffee is okay, but I recommend especially drinking coffee after the water. So why after the water? Because the caffeine has some effects. It makes urinate more frequently. So it actually loses water from your body. Caffeine's effect on that, on the kidneys, and then so I recommend first hydration. Hydration means drinking water and then using some caffeine maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
You suggested that omega-3 lowers the heart rate, heart attack, right? Right.
Yeah.
So like as far as I know, there's like two large, like randomized trials, Ascend and Vital. So none of them actually showed any kind of improvement by taking the omega-3 supplements. So can you tell us a little bit?
That's one of the important journals. I think New England Journal of Medicine, which is one of the important, and it was a blind study. Like people are given some of them omega-3, some of them nothing.
Randomized?
Yeah, randomized and blinded study. Yeah.
So
It's very valuable, and it's I can show you.
yeah. I mean, most of the studies that I know, right, they were not able to show any kind of, like effect of the
Yeah.
omega-3 supplements, especially at low doses that, like people buy from Amazon, right? So, like that, I mean, I would love to really know, what kind of,
Yeah, absolutely.
what kind of dose that they gave, and then what kind of, and then when was that published?
New England Journal of
I know,
Medicine.
but when was it published?
I don't remember now.
Yeah, both the Vital Ascend, it's within the 5 years.
It showed
Both-
20% reduction. That's important.
Yeah.
And no medicine can do that. No medicine. And
Is it supplement? They are
yes,
using-
supplements. Any other?
Dr. Mustafa,
Go ahead.
I mean, most of us, have electronic devices, especially when we are sleeping and it's just, getting close to, our head or close to our heart. And I try to keep it, my phone in the flight mode. Is this still, does it still affect, increase the heart, attack?
Yeah. I don't know anything about the phone itself, but one thing I think about is that it can cause cellular damage, like as I mentioned, like sunlight. Some of the sunlight can cause it. Radiation can cause it. Cell phone also can cause it, and antioxidant is the key to protect the cells at cellular level. So I don't know about it. And one of the things that I want to mention is that, which can help with you, is that if you keep your cell phone away, you can sleep better. I think a lot of people, a lot of messages, groups, WhatsApp, stuff like that, and sleeping better is important for the heart, because you see that the productivity is decreased. Let's assume that you sleep at 1 a.m. in the morning, and between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. you have almost no productivity. So think about if you had that time sleeping, that would decrease your stress levels a lot, and that would increase your heart health. And the other thing is that what we do before we sleep, as the subconscious mind does not sleep at all. So what we do before sleep, our brain is still working on that. Like, let's say heart or brain, whatever, subconscious mind, but there, some part of our mind is working during the night. So it's important to just de-stress Just take time before sleep and just relax and distress before sleep. So the heart health is in our hands, not in the doctor's hands. Go ahead.
Two questions. First question, what's your take on midday power nap and its effect on the heart? Midday power nap, like 10, 15
Oh,
minutes nap,
okay.
where you,
Yeah.
where you go and you
Yeah,
sleep.
it's a sunnah, and it can be helpful, and it reduces the need for the night sleep, but actually it can help with the stress levels, that overall stress. But I don't know too much in detail about. I haven't seen a study which compares midnight nap.
And the second question is, you spoke about the glucose trap, and you spoke about the insulin spiking, and it happens to me and to a lot of people that I know at the iftar during Ramadan. What's your advice on how to properly break the fast during Ramadan?
Yeah,
To avoid the glucose trap?
it's a good question. I was going to say it, actually, my words were interrupted. So, what can we eat in the morning for breakfast? The best thing is for breakfast, whenever you eat. You can eat in the noon, you can start your eating at 6 p.m. or whatever, or in the morning if you're eating. High protein breakfast. High protein. Because protein doesn't put you into the glucose trap. Like, the insulin response is less, your blood sugar is steady, it's not like this. High protein, what is high protein? It's eggs without bread. Or, it's cheese, or you can eat yogurt, you can eat, yogurt without sugar, without the processed ones, and like similar things, but greens. Actually, you can. Salad is the best choice. Maybe with yogurt, or beet with yogurt is the best breakfast. And eggs are also good. That's what I recommend. But I don't recommend bread. I don't recommend donut. I don't recommend any sugar in the morning.
Is it the same for the iftar as well?
Iftar is
Same
iftar is
strategy.
something different. Iftar is something that we cannot control too much.
But if you want to control it, I mean.
So if you want to, if you have fasted until the evening, you can eat sugar. I think it's okay. But I'm talking about the breakfast especially, because during the day you snack all the time. If you eat something sugar in the morning, you snack all the time.
If you break the fast with sugar, then you will snack all the night.
You can't snack.
Sahur.
Yeah.
Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah. But if you, I can't say you stop sugar 100%. It will be very difficult, stopping all the sugar. But if you want to eat sugar, I recommend eating it in the evening, close to the main meal.
We generally traditionally start with hurma.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is
Yes.
this is sweet, right?
Yes.
So how it affects?
I think it's good. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate. Question?
There was one question.
Question?